Hey guys, before this video starts, disclaimer, if you're new to this game, this is not a guide on what elements you should build. It doesn't matter if you're just slowly progressing or a mega tryhard at the game. This video is not a guide on what element you should build. Join the Gaijin GBF Discord and you could ask a bunch of questions there, in the right channels, and read the pins on how to ask a question, or maybe even the question you had in mind is already been answered there. And another disclaimer, I am far from being the best player in the game, even in Gaijins. Here's a bunch of people who are better than me and more informed about the game. So please do let me know in the comments or somewhere, I don't know, if I'm misleading. Okay, so now that's out of the way, let's start with our first element. Yes, Dark. Dark is one of the most popular elements in GBF, and also one of the cheapest to build, and also the most versatile element by a long shot, arguably aside from the other top tier elements such as Light. So to understand this, we need to actually know what the element has at its disposal to be deemed one of the most versatile elements in the game. Dark is capable of doing a lot of stuff, like doing one turn OG burst in basically most of the farmable raids, and the reason why is because of this guy. I won't be getting too much into detail about his kit, but some of the skills that make him so versatile for OTking a bunch of raids or events is Counter Claw and Doubtless Pack members. Those two skills are an auto-nuke skill, which means it's a nuke skill that will trigger when a certain conditions have been met. Counter Claw activates after an enemy does a special attack, making it amazing to farm event bosses, since they will always trigger a special attack when a boss HP have been depleted to a certain percentage. Some of the elements he uses includes farming bars on Akasha, OTKing UBN, Huanglong and Kirin, OTKing very hard or EX events bosses, or even OTKing 5-bar off-element sandbox bosses. The reason why I said this element is really cheap is because the comps for Dark is almost universal. You basically need these 3 units with Bowman replacing Lich in non-hard raids, and you can use them almost anywhere, except for maybe 0 balance 0 chain event bosses or EX plus OTK. Both of the core grants you could get whenever, meaning it's not gated by seasonals, and Bowman, one of the core unit, is not even locked behind the spark. You need 2 of these weapons, and at the cheapest entry, you can just slap in some Celestia access and you're basically good to go. A tier. If you like pain and suffering, you might like this element. There could be only 2 reasons if you ask someone and they have their fire build. 1, is there a god who goes top 300 every guild war? Or the second one, you just like doom posting about your main element getting shit on by other elements. The main use of this element is literally just farming your own element rates and guild war. This element is one of the worst elements in the game. It's one of the hardest elements to clear hard content with. If you're an insane fire idiot, then you could do stuff like raising some HL with fire, but if you have other option, it's just like, why? As of the making of this video, unlike Dark, you need so many units for different purposes in fire, the only arguably universal unit being Grand Parsifal. Some of the examples for this are, you need Summer Meme for burst setups, any combination of Christmas Nemone, Summer Pig, Summer Medusa, or Tien for skill nukes, plus you need 2 of Summer Kundira's weapon. Not to mention OG, you need 2 Silva guns. Oh, and I should also mention this, but Magna Fire feels really bad. Really fucking bad. Agni unlocks some options for you such as skill nuke comps, OG for sub HL but not really anywhere else. The only off-element use I saw for fire was a 1.7 BHL setup. I will post a link to the video below in the description if I could find it. But my point is, unless for some reason you're one of those guys who mains one element and it turns out to be fire for some reason, why wouldn't you want to play a better, cheaper version of other BHL comps? F tier. Honestly, I've been having a hard time thinking of what to say on Earth, since Earth is just an okay element. This element is so mediocre, even the script that I made for this element is mediocre. The element is not dog shit, but not amazing either. As of now, Earth is just okay at almost every rates. It's okay for UBN, it's okay for sub HL, even though elements like wind could be faster, it's still very okay. There aren't a lot of universal units on Earth per se, but there are so many good units, so you just end up putting random units together and the team just sometimes works. Here's some examples for burst teams you would use on 95, and even if you don't have like the top tier setup, there is so many more options that you could pick from. That works quite well, to be honest. So my conclusion is, this element is a medium to high investment value with medium return. It has an okay VHL setup, again, slower than wind and light, but it's still fine. The element can glue itself together even if you don't have everything. You have X-Grid for bursts, skill new comp exists, OG comp exists, you could full out of FA and Bobs easily with this element. Now that I think about it, it's also one of the niche that Earth also has. It's just an okay element.
That's quite big. Impressive.
Water is a pretty good element. The thing with water is, like Earth, you have so much alternatives. Even the Eternals for water are amazing. There's so many workarounds if you don't have everything, except for arguably a few setups like Steel Nuke Nightmare 200 or 150 with Wayne. Even Less Wire Guild War, OG 150 or 200 duos for non-Wayne havers were pretty decent. And the best part is, I think, Varuna is one of the cheaper primals to build out of the 6. Unless you factor in 3 umbrellas, of course. Water has one of the faster BHL 1.5 rush setup, and could also do executes on sub HL. Another thing that Water has going for them is, you don't need access to a bunch of seasonals to play the element. The only one that are very core is arguably Summer Lucio for burst setups, and Dokkan for the BHL 1.5 rush setup, so that's pretty nice. Top of beats here. Win. Trash tier. But jokes aside, Win is probably the second best element in the game. Bar farming, BHL, GOHL, you name it. Fast hard content setups, Bops, sub HL, you name it. This element also has Neon, which is a free unit by the way, and she's fucking busted. And what were they smoking? Were they smoking crack on making these units? Whose idea was it to give Naru these, and whose idea was it to give a unit that could put her on cocaine? Like what? So here's a really quick rundown of Wind setups, the holy trinity of Wind. Yes, this comp like Dark is almost universal in heart rates, in burst setups, with a couple of exceptions like maybe EX OTK or Nightmare 200 skill match setups. The only thing with Wind is, you might want a bunch of seasonals for it to actually do work. You need a bunch of Pain Fists for bursts. Wind's FA is not really free to play friendly as well, since it's gated behind a bunch of seasonals. But yeah, Naru does this and Korwa does this, combine them and you get...
Whatever game you're playing, it won't work. You can't defeat me.
No, I know. But he can.
No!
Do I really need to explain? Okay, fine. If you've been living under a rock, so basically these two units came out and it's just dumb. Instead of explaining, I'll just show you what these guys can do. Yeah, this element is stupid. Being able to farm all bar rates, insane capability in heart rates, the only flaw of this element being you need both Florence and Mugen, which are seasonals. I wouldn't even say that the grid are too expensive. Hell, dude, even with sword grids, with no uni-harps, Light with Florence and Mugen still could do so much damage. S tier. So yeah, this is the overall tier list, and what do you think? If you think I have no idea what I'm talking about, please do let me know, but yeah, see you all later, maybe.